And now to the war in Europe, where Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that the United States has proposed a new idea, a so-called free economic zone in parts of the eastern Donbas. It's a proposal that would require Ukrainian troops to withdraw from some areas, but with one unusual condition. Russian troops would not be allowed to advance into that territory. And now questions are growing about whether such a plan is realistic, fair, or even enforceable. According to Zelensky, this American proposal marks a shift. Earlier versions suggested Ukraine should hand over the parts of the Donbas that still are controlled by Russia, but now Washington is suggesting a compromise. In theory, this would create a buffer, a zone that neither army controls, which would then be designated as a free economic zone. But Zelensky says the idea is filled with unanswered questions. The biggest one, who would actually govern the territory? Would it be an international force, a civilian administration, or something else entirely? As he put it, they don't know. And without firm guarantees, President Zelensky argues the plan is risky because nothing would prevent Russian troops from simply moving in later.
If one side's troops have to retreat and the other side stays where they are, then what will hold back these other troops, the Russians? Or what will stop them disguising themselves as civilians and taking over this free economic zone? This is all very serious. It's not a fact that Ukraine would agree to it, but if you are talking about a compromise, then it has to be a fair compromise.
Now, the Donbas region has been a major fighting front between Russia and Ukrainian forces. And Russia has invaded and even occupied more than 80% of Donbas since 2014, and it plans to capture the rest through force. Meanwhile, Ukraine has so far refused to hand over its territory to end the conflict. The president of Ukraine has also stressed that any territorial concession would require approval from the Ukrainian people. Now, under the U.S. proposal as described by Zelensky, the Ukrainian forces withdraw from the region. The front lines would then be frozen in their current positions. Russia, meanwhile, would give up small pockets of land it controls elsewhere, but the plan still faces deep disagreements, including over who will control the Zaporzhizia nuclear power plant. This latest round of negotiations comes as Zelensky faces pressure from President Donald Trump, who has repeatedly pushed Kyiv to accept the U.S. plan. Now, in recent days, President Trump has accused Zelensky of not reading the draft proposal and has questioned his legitimacy, calling for elections in Ukraine, talking points similar to what we've seen from the Kremlin. President Trump has also said that the U.S. will take part in Ukraine peace talks only if there's chance of progress.
Well, there's a meeting on Saturday. We'll see whether or not we attend the meeting. We said we'll attend the meeting if you think there's a good chance of they want me to attend, they want us to attend. And we'll be attending the meeting on Saturday in Europe if we think there's a good chance. And we don't want to waste a lot of time. We think it's negative.
Now, at the same time, President Trump's press secretary said that the president is frustrated with both sides.
The president is extremely frustrated with both sides of this war, and he's sick of meetings just for the sake of meeting. He doesn't want any more talk. He wants action. He wants this war to come to an end. And the administration has spent more than 30 hours, just in the past couple of weeks, meeting with the Russians and the Ukrainians and the Europeans and speaking with them as well. So we'll see about the meetings this weekend, and stay tuned.
President Zelensky says that Kyiv has presented the U.S. with an updated version of the peace plan, and he added that the Trump administration wants a full understanding of the status of the plan by Christmas.
An hour ago, we had conversation with the United States team about possible security guarantees for Ukraine, and we are working on a framework document, and it must be strong enough to truly work. We believe this document should be approved by the United States Congress. This would mean real, solid, legally binding security guarantees for our country.
But there's a larger uncertainty hanging over all of this. Is Vladimir Putin actually ready to sign a peace agreement? And as of now, Ukraine and the U.S. are circling around a difficult, delicate compromise. Whether this proposal becomes a path to peace or just another political dead end will depend on what comes next from Kyiv, from Washington, and ultimately from Moscow.
I was born into revolution. I inherited power like a crown. What I delivered was isolation. I built a personality cult that touched every home. Millions suffered hunger under my rule, but no one dared to speak. I ruled from palaces. My people queued for rice. I called myself the dear leader. History calls me something else. The dictator. Who am I?